Good morning, everybody. It is Saturday morning. I have a message that I would like to give to you all. This is something that I've learned in the past month of August, because August kicked my behind. A message that I got through something that I was going through, and I feel like somebody else could use it. Because what usually happens is, sorry, I have a notification pop up. That's why I'm squinting. But usually, what happens is, when I'm going through something, because I'm such an analytical person, and I try to see the purpose, the message, and the lesson and things that I'm going through, what will often happen is what I just learned. Somebody and I will be talking about something that is pertaining to them, and I will end up saying to them the same thing I just learned. And nobody had to tell me this thing. This is just, like I said, I'm an analytical person. So usually when I'm going through things, I find the reason in it. If you hear my kids in the background, whoop-de-doo, kids, don't be quiet. So what my message is today is, if you are somebody who is creative, whether that be drawing, uh, singing, dancing, rapping, being a creative director, just anything that is art, or even if you have a certain thing that you're passionate about, and I'm putting my words together and the kids are distracting me. But even someone who has something that they're passionate about, even if it isn't art, even if it's something about, moral or moving forward, and moving the collective forward, if you wait until the right moment, sometimes the consequence of not feeding your passion is lack of abundance. Sometimes the consequence of not feeding your passion, or what you feel your purpose is, the consequence or punishment is lack of abundance. All right? And let me give you my example. So, right, I love music. I've always loved music. Ever since I was a child, I was very performative. When I was in preschool, I don't know what preschool this was, but when I was in preschool, when I lived in Seattle, Washington, I remember in the gym room, they had like gymnastics equipment there. And I could walk across that plank without falling, flip off of it, land into a split, backflip. I don't know how I was able to do these things in preschool. And everybody told my mom, that little girl belongs in gymnastics. When I was young, I was very attracted to heels, the little plastic princess heels, with the that came with the tutu and the crown. I used to steal my mom's heels. I loved dancing. I could walk in heels. I was not fast. I just knew who I was at a young age, because even now I own 15 pair of heels, and it's not gonna be the last pair because they're on my wish list. But that's not the point. I've always loved music. I always loved to dance. It was just not water. Now that I'm grown and I'm coming into that inner child and remembering who I was all along, you have all of these limiting beliefs like, I'll pursue it. I'll do it when, after I pay this, or after I get this job, or after I get this house, or after this certain amount of credit, or after I go to school, or after da 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 da. And before the summer season started, hold on a second, they're being too loud. Okay, so May of this year, I was blessed to go on a contract where I was getting paid $30 an hour, $45 OT. And this job took so much of my life from me, because I was working so much that I did not have time to do the creative things that I was starting to become consistent with. I wasn't putting out content. I wasn't cooking as much. I wasn't talking much about exercise and health, and I just couldn't find any time to write any new music, or even go to the studio. And in my heart, I was saying, there are things that I want out of this contract. Which one of them I got? It was vacation. Okay, I got to pay for a nice vacation for my birthday. That was my gift to myself. But I had maybe about two other things that I wanted out of this contract. And I had said to myself 2 weeks before my contract got terminated, I thought I heard a child crying because sometimes they play too rough. I don't want this video to be too long, so I need to speed it up. We're already at 5 minutes. But anyways, I said to myself and my close friends on Instagram that I'm a little bit upset with myself because I haven't been able to be as creative as I would like to be, because the job is draining me. It was a 1:45 to 10:15 shift, 1:45 p.m. to 10:15 p.m. shift. Mind you, it was 45 minutes away, so include that travel time. I'm not getting the rest that I should get. I'm not waking up with the sun like I usually would. It was messing with my routine, and like I just had no life. I really didn't like. I really was just tired. Like on days that I just wanted to, like, the days that I was off of work, I just wanted to rest. And I told myself, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, I could keep renewing the contract every 13 weeks, but you're gonna have time to go to the studio? Are you gonna have time to like network and talk to people and da 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 and all of these other things? And I'm like, no, but like if I come off this contract, like this is a lot of money I'm making. Like what, like I'm not looking to downgrade. So it was just like, in my mind, I already knew I was choosing the money that I was making over my passions and what I know my purpose is. And for me, my purpose is not, I go on many paths, and I think on all those paths, my purpose is just to inspire people to be authentic and be real and share my experiences and have people learn about their experiences. And I wasn't doing any of that. So I was choosing that money that I was making over my passions. And then whoop-de-doo, about 2 weeks later, my contract got canceled. And they told my agent no type of explanation for why they canceled my contract. And while I was pissed because I had things, a concert coming up that I was getting ready to go out of town for, I was pissed at the plans I had, but I said, I trust you, God. Like, I don't know what you're doing, but I trust you. And in that time, I'm like, wow, okay, boom, this is a reset. I don't have no job to like attend to 40 hours a week. I didn't have no backup plan. And I instantly was like, jump back into what I naturally know how to do, which is just be creative. And in that time, I was a little worried about, losing things, because it was like the middle of the month, and I'm like, okay, I have a car payment due, rent is coming, I don't get food stamps, I'm buying groceries every week. Like, what is gonna happen? Like, I don't want to lose the things that I work hard for. But the moment that I jumped back into my creative flow, everything was provided to me when I decided to be devoted to those things. So I'm here to say this. And what my friend told me that I just said this to today is that sometimes the consequences to not doing, like feeding to your passions, is lack of abundance. I'm a person, I truly do believe that some people, if you follow your life purpose, everybody's is different, that all things will be provided for you. So she was just like, she loves music, but she knows like writing and music is not gonna bring her any money. It's not productive. And who said not being creative is not productive. We live in such a we live in such a we live in such a time where technology is so crazy. One little thing can change your life. So when I told her that, she was like, you clocked me. And I'm like, because I've been clocked. I've been clocked by God and by the universe and whoever, you believe in. But I just wanted to say that. So if you're not making time for your passions, if you're not making time for your passions, you easily can get stripped of that. And what I mean by that is, keep on avoiding what you know you're supposed to be doing, and watch you get sat down to make time to do those things. Yeah. And I've been sat down. Like, I could have been panicking, losing my mind. The average person would be losing their mind, like, every time I take a step forward, I get pushed 10 steps back. When really I just took that as, even though I was crashing out a little bit, because I was getting worried. I'm human, and I've been through things where I grew up in poverty. I grew up, not having, so it was just like triggering to be like at risk of losing all the things that I acquired. But I didn't take all of that as like looking at it as like punishment, like, oh, why did this had to happen to me? I took it as, all right, it's time to go back to the drawing board. That job was not your career. That job was a stepping stone anyway. The things you already knew in your brain, and the fact that you knew, when you know things and you keep continuing to do the opposite. When you know things and you keep continuing to do the opposite, it's like the karma, and karma is not always a bad thing. The karma comes to you faster when you're aware. When you're aware and you know. Like, yes, we all have a conscience, and we know, like, sometimes when we make decisions, like, oh, that's not good. But when you're, like, in tune and it's like, no. So you're going to sit here and play. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Take the time to be creative. Also, understand that you create your own reality. And for people who are creative, if you're not creating, the opposite, I read something, and I have it on my mood board up there with all my little goals for the rest of the fourth quarter of this year. If you're creative, if you're depressed and you're an artist, the opposite of depression is not happiness, it's expression. So don't forget to express yourself, and believe that you will be carried through that. Clearly, there's a purpose in it. And that's all I wanted to say today. Hope that makes sense.